Hi, I'm aware that, I haven't made a single video since May, and it's now already near the end of August. But these past few months have been very busy, and I just kept delaying when I would come onto YouTube and sit down, think of what I was going to talk about, and produce a YouTube video. Just so you know, there's nothing involving, an account being tampered with by someone who had bad intentions, or me growing tired with the whole process of recording videos and uploading them. It has nothing to do with that. I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to get onto YouTube and make a video that was incomplete, where I had some of the facts down but not all of them. And I just recently looked through a lot of my videos, and I noticed that there were a few that were actually unnecessary, because I sort of jumped to make a video as soon as something happened, even though it probably would have been best for me to wait a while before doing it. And I just I hope to avoid making that error for all forthcoming videos. When my great uncle died, we were very, unaware of the true circumstances of what happened, and we didn't have a full grasp of the situation. We didn't know possible causes or anything, and so in late May we discovered that he had a brain aneurysm, and we were able to piece together that the brain aneurysm was a result of him being given a lethal dose of medication from his doctor. So it turns out that there's some malpractice, and unfortunately, nothing can be done because he has no next of kin, either a son or a daughter, and none of us can file any legal action or anything. So that was very difficult to deal with for quite a bit of time, and I'm sure you can understand that I just wasn't up to getting on here to discuss those things. So throughout most of May I was pretty down in the dumps about the whole thing, and just knowing how strange the world can be, the very next month, in early June, on June 2nd to be exact, my niece was born. And it did a great deal to lift my spirits. I uh, became an uncle for the first time in my life, and I feel very blessed to be able to experience that. I can only truly experience being an uncle, as soon as I have a niece, and here she is. I see my older brother in her. She has the same blonde colored hair and blue eyes, and I'm just I'm just very happy about it. And then you know just one thing after another came along, and just a few days later my younger brother had his college graduation. I had been invited to go the week before, and told that I'm not obligated to go. If I don't want to deal with the whole situation, going to a strange place, amongst hundreds, or however many people would be in the auditorium. So I decided it was something I had to do, to get some exposure. And I managed to sit through the whole ceremony that lasted about 3 hours without having to get out of my seat and leave the premises. I sat through the whole thing, and had no problems to report. Then after the graduation, there was a graduation dinner that I also chose to involve myself in. It was mainly my younger brother's girlfriend's relatives, and I had a chance to talk to some of her cousins, and we got along as well as anybody who was a stranger with. And it went pretty well. I maybe left the table 2 times probably, but overall it was pretty good. So the graduation came and went, and then just a few weeks later, in early July, my younger brother invited me to go with him and my dad to help him move to Indiana, where he had received an opportunity to work, and was given a scholarship to attend Indiana University for a few semesters for I guess it's a grad school. And I realized it would be a long trip and would be spending a lot of time in the car, but I realized that it would be an opportunity to help my brother out with moving his belongings, and it would be a good way for me to see the country. Don't often get a chance to go on a road trip through part of the United States. So I got to see Utah, Wyoming, and then went into Nebraska and Iowa and then Illinois, and then finally Indiana, and with the exception of Salt Lake City, I can't say I really enjoyed my time in any of the other areas that we were able to spend time in, which is unfortunate because I know that a lot of those other states I mentioned have their good areas and their bad areas, but just so happened that along the route that we took, only got to see a little bit of each state, and didn't really get to experience them, but it was a nice snapshot to at least see something. So we finally went to Indianapolis, because that was where our flight would be from Indianapolis Airport to O'Hare Airport in Chicago. So it was my second ever flight from Indianapolis to Chicago. I had it was really nice. Didn't experience any problems while I was up there, and then landed at O'Hare. Didn't get to see Chicago, although I would have wanted to, but we were just so tired, and we're running out of money to be able to stay at a hotel, so spent a while at O'Hare, then flew back to San Francisco. And just before we landed, I just experienced the absolute worst sinus pain and worst head pain from the drop in altitude. I ended up writhing in my seat, because again, I was just in the worst pain that I probably have ever experienced in my entire life. So eventually we landed, and I actually had lost hearing in both of my ears, and had to take some decongestant to clear that up. And overall it was really interesting, and I think the main thing I'm going to remember is the humidity in the majority of those states we were in. Is something that I never get to experience where I live. It's just amazing how time flies on here, but I'm going to end this video right now, and then I'm going to go into a different topic on the next one.